A tiny tiger cub is crushed by a python in the middle of the jungle. A lone researcher, armed with nothing but a pocket knife and a reckless sense of justice, charges in. What happens next makes the entire forest choose a side, and it's not the one you'd expect. They say the jungle has rules. Respect the balance, keep your distance, don't poke what has claws or fangs. And sure, that works, until something shatters the balance so violently, the whole damn forest holds its breath. That morning started like any other, humid, sticky, thick with the scent of overripe fruit and wet earth. The kind of morning that tells you the sun's awake before you are. In a quiet pocket of India's Manas Reserve, a tigress named Asha nudged her cubs out of the den for the very first time. 3 of them, wobbling legs, oversized paws, eyes still full of wonder. One cub, the smallest, was named Tara, curious, reckless, and always first to wander. And just a few yards away, a man crouched under the boughs of a sal tree. His name was Rajiv. Mid-30s, scruffy beard, khaki shirt faded from too many washes and not enough laundry soap. A field researcher, allegedly. But really, he was more like one of those rare good eggs who still believe the wild is worth saving, even if no one's paying attention. No social media, no team behind him. Just a camera, a notebook, and the stubborn kind of heart that gets people into trouble. Rajiv had been tracking Asha for weeks, not to tag her, not to cage her, but to understand her. He respected her space, never got too close. Until, of course, the moment that respect had to be replaced by something else entirely. Sheer, unapologetic action. You see, the thing about the jungle is this. It doesn't care about your plans. And it sure as hell doesn't care about your timing. As Tara bumbled down a slope toward a shaded stream, Rajiv saw movement up in the canopy. Something heavy, coiled. And then he saw it. The damn python. Massive. Not your garden variety snake. We're talking prehistoric, jaw like a steel trap kind of creature. 7, maybe 8 feet of cold-blooded calculation, sliding through the branches like silk-wrapped death. Rajiv froze. His heart knew what was coming before his brain caught up. The python dropped from the tree like it was trained by gravity itself and slammed into the cub. The sound, it wasn't a roar. It wasn't a cry. It was something worse. The kind of sound that makes your spine stiffen and your stomach turn cold. Tara screamed, or tried to, but the air was being crushed out of her lungs as the python wrapped tighter. Rajiv moved, not heroically, not gracefully, like a man possessed, like a man whose soul couldn't bear to watch innocence snuffed out. He crashed through the brush, ignoring the thorns ripping at his legs. His fingers gripped the handle of his utility knife. It was small, barely a kitchen knife, but it was all he had. He lunged at the coils, slashing at the python's midsection. It turned on him, not fast, not angry, just cold, like it was irritated someone interrupted its meal. That's when she came. Asha. The tigress exploded into the scene like a missile of muscle and fury. Her roar made birds leap into the sky, and even the insects shut up for a second. Rajiv fell back. He should have been afraid. He was sitting 5 feet from a killing machine, but she didn't touch him. She went for the snake. Claws met scales. Fangs tore flesh. The python writhed, hissed, tried to strike, but Asha was faster, meaner, and this time, she was a mother. Within seconds, the forest floor was a mess of blood and broken branches. The snake went limp. Asha dropped it like trash and turned to Tara. She nudged the little body. Once, twice. Nothing. And then, a sound. Weak. Like a rusty whistle. Tara coughed. Alive. Not safe, not fine, but alive. And for the first time in his career, Rajiv felt something deeper than data or instinct. A connection. He whispered, more to himself than anyone else. You're not just an animal. You're a mother. A better one than most people I know. Asha didn't growl. She didn't leave. She just stared. And in that second, man and beast understood something that couldn't be explained in a paper or shown in a documentary, something ancient, something real. What happened next changed everything. You won't want to miss how this story spirals into something even deeper, darker, and unexpectedly human. You'd think that after wrestling with a 7-foot python and staring down a wild tigress without turning into lunch meat, the worst would be over. But if there's one thing the jungle loves, it's proving you wrong. Rajiv barely made it back to camp that evening. His shoulder throbbed from where the python had slammed him into the rocks. His face, scratched, dirt-smeared, and puffy with adrenaline come down, made him look more like a man who'd lost a bar fight than a scientist. But hey, try explaining that to his guide, Kareem, who took one look at him and dropped his tea like the cup had grown teeth. "You look like the ghost of someone who tried to pet a bear," Kareem muttered. "Close," Rajiv said. "Python, tigress, cub, long story." "Did the python get you?" "Number the tigress didn't either." Kareem blinked. "You're either blessed or stupid. Bit of both. And that should have been the end of it. Just another insane jungle day for the field notes." But the next morning, the forest gave Rajiv something else entirely. Silence. No birdsong, no monkeys screeching in the trees, just thick, stifling quiet. The kind of silence that made your ears work overtime, trying to find something, anything, that sounded normal. Rajiv walked out past the ridge where he last saw Asha. No tracks, no scat, not even disturbed grass. It was like she'd vanished, except she hadn't. He spotted her 2 days later, standing still near a downed banyan tree, one paw protectively over Tara's weakened body. The other cubs were gone. And Asha? She wasn't the same tigress anymore. Her shoulder was gashed from the python fight. Her eyes, sunken and sharp, told a story no camera could capture. She looked exhausted and wounded, but she was still standing, still protecting. Rajiv didn't move closer. He just watched, quiet, respectful. And that's when he noticed it. A man in the distance. Not in ranger gear. No tags. No uniform. Poacher. He wasn't stomping through the brush like most fools. He was too careful. Steady steps. Eyes locked on the tigress, rifle in hand. Rajiv's stomach turned. Poachers weren't just criminals. They were part of the disease. Asha wasn't just facing one threat. She was caught in the middle of a system that fed on desperation and greed. On poor men paid pennies to hunt majestic creatures for people who wanted tiger teeth on a gold chain or skin on their stupid designer boots. And Rajiv? He had no weapon, no phone signal, just a flare gun in his bag, and the undeniable feeling that if he didn't do something, he'd be watching a murder in real time. So he did what no self-respecting scientist would recommend. He ran, not away, toward, straight at the poacher. "Hey!" he yelled like a man who'd officially lost his mind. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." The man spun, startled, gun half raised. Rajiv didn't flinch. "That tigress just killed a full-grown python. You think she's scared of you?" Silence. Then a low growl, not from Rajiv. Asha had stood, shoulders hunched, ears flattened. The poacher backed up. Rajiv stepped forward. "You shoot that tiger, I swear. I'll make sure every ranger, every camera, every damn tourist in this state knows your face. And guess what? She's not the only one watching you right now." Whether it was bluff, divine intervention, or sheer panic, the poacher turned and bolted. Rajiv stood there, panting, knees nearly buckling. Asha didn't move, but something changed in her expression, a flicker of recognition. Trust? Maybe. Or maybe just a temporary truce in a world where nothing was ever that simple. Back at camp, Kareem wasn't impressed. "You chased a poacher, unarmed." "Technically, I had a flare gun." "You're an idiot." "Probably." But even as Rajiv iced his bruised knee and scribbled half-legible notes, one thing burned in his chest like wildfire. That moment in the clearing was no accident. He wasn't just documenting the jungle anymore. He was part of it, like it or not. This is it. The pressure's building and the climax is about to break loose. Everything you've waited for, every ounce of justice, risk, and raw emotion, is coming. They say you never forget the jungle once it marks you. Rajiv used to laugh at that line. Thought it was some poetic nonsense cooked up by travel writers who never stepped outside a resort. But now it felt carved into his bones. 3 days had passed since the poacher vanished into the trees like a bad dream, but the damage lingered. Asha was weakening. Her wounds were turning from red to ugly. Infection had set in, and her cub, Tara, barely moved. The forest was still, but not in that peaceful postcard kind of way. More like waiting. Rajiv paced the edge of his makeshift camp, chewing the inside of his cheek like it owed him rent. His journal was half filled with crossed-out thoughts and shaky sketches. He didn't care about publishing anymore. What was a peer-reviewed article worth when a tigress was dying because the system kept failing? Kareem shook his head. You can't interfere. You know that. Rajiv barked a dry laugh. That rule made sense before she let me get within 10 feet without tearing me in half, before she trusted me. Animals don't trust. They tolerate. She tolerated me enough not to finish what the python started. Kareem sighed. And what? You're going to treat her wounds with what? Coconut oil and hope? Rajiv didn't answer. Because, well, that was more or less the plan. So he went, flare gun strapped to his hip, a small pack with gauze, antiseptic, and whatever jungle-approved medical tricks he could scrounge up, and a ridiculous belief that maybe, just maybe, she'd let him help. He found her in the same spot. She didn't growl when he approached, didn't stand, just watched. Her breathing was shallow, her fur matted with blood and mud. Tara whimpered weakly against her. Rajiv knelt down slowly, every muscle screaming, "Don't move." He opened the kit, pulled out the antiseptic. The smell alone would have knocked a grown man over. Asha twitched. "Yeah, I know," he muttered. "It smells like betrayal and hospital floors." And then, a miracle. She stayed still. He worked fast, cleaned the worst of the wounds, bandaged what he could, kept his hands visible the whole time like he was dealing with a nervous border agent and not a 300-pound predator. And then, just as he was about to step back, a low growl cut through the trees. Not Asha. Rajiv stood slowly, scanned the tree line. It was back. The poacher, rifle raised, eyes hard. But this time, Rajiv wasn't alone. The forest had witnesses. 2 elephants, half shrouded in mist, stepped into the clearing. Wild, untethered. Their ears fanned out. Behind them, 3 rhesus monkeys hooted from the trees. A macaque skittered down and screamed. The jungle was alive. And it wasn't quiet anymore. Rajiv raised the flare gun, not at the poacher, at the sky. Population A, bright streak of red, exploded above the canopy. The poacher didn't flinch, but the elephants did. They trumpeted, loud enough to shake leaves from branches, a warning, a line in the dirt, and that's when Asha stood, bleeding, swaying, but standing. She looked the poacher in the eyes and let out a roar so raw, so guttural, it didn't sound like anger. It sounded like judgment. And the poacher? He dropped the rifle, ran, gone. Rajiv collapsed to one knee, not from exhaustion, from something else, something primal, something overwhelming. Tara coughed again, louder this time, and in that broken, filthy clearing, surrounded by elephants and monkeys and blood and disbelief, Rajiv let out a shaky laugh. "You made it, kid," he whispered. "You really made it." 2 weeks later, the story went viral. A ranger's body cam captured the flare, the elephants, even the poacher's rifle left behind. Asha and Tara were tracked from a distance by a conservation drone. Both were recovering. And Rajiv? He didn't go back to the university. He stayed. Not because of duty, not because of glory, because the wild remembers who stands with it, and who runs. And once it remembers your name, it never forgets.